Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. You're funny.
We live?
I'm looking. Yes, we are live. Remember when that used to be hard?
Yes, this is the easy part now.
Easy now. Now we know Zoom. Now we know.
I don't think I'm Zoom. Hi, you guys. I can't even find you, Kat. I'm a hot mess.
I see you.
There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys. So hi. I just want to tell you what happened. We were all set. We got on. We were organized. It was 8:45, and I'm like, okay. Like we had the outline of what we were going to talk about. I was like, let me just pop in and change the title on the Google Slides, which have been done for weeks. Somebody changed them in my Google Drive. I don't know. So I was like, Kat, maybe we have to do this without slides. So we apologize. That's why we're a little late. Hi, my name is Joy Hawk. This is Dr. Catherine Caden Fakara. She is, for those of you who do not know, she is so fancy. She's double board certified in pediatric and prenatal chiropractic, and also a graduate certified, what is it that you called, of the Institute of Functional Medicine, and practices functional medicine. She's had her own wellness clinic for 20 years. She's uber duper smart. And so I had originally said that I was going to come here. I am a integrative health coach. I graduated from nutrition school 10 years ago. Really, I'm just a mom who has fumbled my way through figuring things out. I am not the person, to be honest with you, that is going to go into PubMed and understand anything I read. I get bored after the second or third line. I like to go to Kat for the science. We joke that I speak Cat-ese. She's the validator of all the science things, and I can usually interpret the science for those who are like me and not sciencey. I joke and say dumb it down. It's not dumbing it down. It's just, I'm not a doctor. You don't have to be a doctor to understand all of this. Anything else you wanted to add there?
No, it's perfect.
Okay. So tonight, we may or may not have slides. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about, to some degree, activation, but I am assuming also that everybody here, and please forgive my slides, they're not pretty tonight, okay? We're just winging it, it's fine. But we're sort of assuming that everybody on this call has some basic understanding of what activation is, why that's different than supplementation. Kat and I are going to kind of overview it really quickly for you. We're not going to go too in depth because that's not really what we wanted to focus on tonight. What we wanted to focus on tonight is there was an article that came out. Now, granted, it is not, you said it's not peer reviewed.
Not independent peer reviewed yet.
Independent peer reviewed, talking about endogenous glutathione and how that's really important for the body to handle, how did we say?
Optimize its expression in handling and preventing serious manifestations of certain unnamed or not to be named diseases.
You guys, we're trying really hard to be compliant. We are not allowed to tell you that we know how to cure, treat, mitigate anything. We are not making that claim. However, the article that we are referring to indicates that. So we're going to give you some dots. It's up to you to connect to them if you so wish. So I think let's really talk about oxidative stress really quickly so everyone kind of has a foundation. I'll do that.
You want to pull up the slideshow on there officially? You have like
Can you not see mine?
I do, but it's like it shows the Google photos and everything. Can you put it on slideshow? Can you put it on?
You mean you don't want to see my whole
I mean, I don't mind. I love your family. And I love your screen. Yeah, you go ahead.
Talk about you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect to do these kinds of things. That's what we're modeling for you tonight. Anyway, I think everybody knows, particularly if you have kids out there, if you have kids and you've ever tried to send apples in their lunchbox, or maybe had them eat an avocado after you've left the avocado out on the counter for a little while, it turns brown, right? That browning is happening it's actually a really good visual. It's aging. So the cells of the fruit have been exposed to the what we call free radicals or environmental toxins in the air. Okay. So that browning occurs. It is the same thing that happens inside our own body to our own cells when we breathe in those same free radicals. Okay. That's called oxidative stress. It's an aging process. Okay. Is that basic enough? Like, would you add any?
Yeah, it's the aging. It's what happens to our cells from just breathing air.
Yep.
We all have it, no matter what, and we have more of it now than ever before.
Because we're all under extreme stress.
Yes.
I would say. Raise your hand. Drop like an emoji below that indicates your stress level. So, you know, before 2020 happened, we were being hijacked anyway, you know, with heavy metals and pesticides in our food and water supply, environmental toxins, anything from pollution to household chemicals that you may or may not be using, beauty products that you may or may not be using, molds that you may or may not have or have been exposed to. Personal relationships is what we would have said prior to 2020. You know, how is your marriage? How is your job? Are you sleeping well? Are you stressed? I think now it's pretty safe to assume that everybody's stressed. It's just a matter of how much. And then obviously technology, everybody's technology use probably has gone through the roof right now. Everybody's on screens more than ever, you know, with your Zoom meetings or your board or whatever it is. And EMFs are very much the new smoking. 5G, if you have it, very much causes large amounts of oxidative stress. I think we have been conditioned to assume that blueberries or celery juice is the solution. Okay. And I'm not at all here to tell you that you should not consume healthy foods. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, quite frankly, it is not enough. It was not enough in 2019, and it is 1010% not enough in 2020, given the mass amounts of technology, Wi-Fi, and stress that we are all being exposed to. So we are sort of conditioned to combat this free radical damage or oxidative stress with something called antioxidants, which I think most of you are familiar with. Glutathione is actually one of the master antioxidants, FYI. You can get glutathione, gosh, I'm gonna test myself. Mushrooms have it. What other foods have? Avocados?
Asparagus.
Asparagus. You can get glutathione from foods, okay? That would be what you call exogenous glutathione, correct?
Yes, and the thing that is a good thing to distinguish is that direct antioxidants, which we need for certain things, are things that come from the outside. Our body doesn't make. Our body doesn't make vitamin C, but our body makes its own endogenous antioxidants, like the ones.
So which is why we're conditioned to consume foods. Like everyone knows, like oranges have vitamin C, kiwi has vitamin C, things like that like they're good for us and that you should eat them. Unfortunately, antioxidants, the blueberry kind, work on a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's kind of like, you know, suggesting that you're going to manage your stress or your oxidative stress with the blueberries and the kale and the celery juice is akin to what I say, showing up to a forest fire with a Dixie cup of water and saying, here I am. It's just not sufficient, especially in 2020. Okay. So we do have a product. It is called Nerf2 by Protandim that activates your body. It turns on your body's own genetics to produce catalase, glutathione, and SOD. Anything you want to add there, Kat?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, like, as we age, like you were saying, it's kind of like we're on a slow burn, and as we go on and on from stress and so forth, our body's levels of glutathione, superoxide dismutase, and catalase get depleted. So like if you use a Tylenol because you're stressed out or you're not sleeping, you're naturally depleting your own glutathione. And right, taking antioxidants like vitamin C aren't going to increase your glutathione. Turning on the NRF2 is what will increase your body's own ability to make it.
So Kat and I have been talking about glutathione for probably 2 years now, well before 2020. That's how I'll just refer to it, is 2020. And you guys can connect your own dots, okay? We actually have, long before 2020 happened, we made a couple videos on glutathione. Drop the word glutathione below if you would like access to those resources. We've done a couple, 2 videos that I can think of that are really specific to glutathione if you want to kind of dig in there. But Kat, what would you say, before we got on the call, you said something that was really helpful, talking about how the body needs glutathione stores or reserves to combat any illness or disease. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay.
So glutathione, being that it's a detoxifier, master antioxidant, endogenous body-made antioxidant, is in charge of helping your body to recover from stress, from a poor diet, from all the ways that traumas, toxins, thoughts, technology, and all that stuff is impacting us. And many people have already depleted stores of it. Typically, older people, the people who are more susceptible and have more immune issues, have less glutathione stores, as do children who have been regularly taking Tylenol for fevers or post an immunization or anything like that, or if they eat a lot of sugar and not getting a lot of sleep. So those of us who are either older, immune compromised for a variety of different reasons because we've taken medications, poor diet, stress, etc., are going to have lesser levels of this particular antioxidant. All of the antioxidants that we have endogenously are important, and they do a variety of different things. But the reason why glutathione is getting so much attention is because the key way to help your body to get better is to be able to excrete, to detoxify. And so one of the first things that I do with any of my patients who is looking to feel better and to heal is always I'm asking them about their pooping, their sweating, their breathing, their digestion. And that's basically your detoxification pathways. And if we can't detoxify, that gets recycled and repackaged back into our body. So glutathione is known as our master detoxifying antioxidant. And it being depleted means you can't get the germ out, so to speak. You can't get what your body's trying to fight out, no matter what.
Okay, so that's actually a really good point, because there's probably some people on here that are like, detoxification pathways, like, what are you talking about? But I think what you said,
oh no,
in that
in
that last sentence was really key. And I think it's really like the critical piece is what's happening in 2020 is hard to avoid, right? Like, there are germs out there that even if you stay in your house, even if you wear a mask, if you're bringing in food or you have anybody in your house that's coming and going, you're risking being exposed to a germ. And so, in my opinion, whatever your feeling is about avoiding the germ, fine. But it's not foolproof. You have to be prepared you have to prepare your body to be exposed to the germ. And I've been talking about this and boosting immunity for 5 years, far before there were any new diseases or new germs to be worried about in 2020, okay? I would tell people in August, I would run immunity boot camps, and I would tell people, now is the time to pay attention to your immunity and to add in and do extra things. So come flu season, which is really just lack of sun and sugar season after Halloween. And I don't know what Halloween's going to look like this year, but I do know that, as the kids start to go back to school, whatever that looks like, whether they're either going to have higher exposure rates or they're going to have higher stress. I imagine that it's going to be a combination of both. It is the perfect storm, for quite frankly, that I think everybody needs to be paying attention to. How do I boost my immune system and get ready for what is coming in the fall? Would you agree with that?
Yes, I mean, I think the languaging that is probably the safest use is to say support immunity, because
Yes.
there are a lot of people out there saying, oh, you can't really boost it, but you're completely right. We have to support it, and probably more than ever before. And by no means are we suggesting that this is the only thing to do, but you know, just short of a coffee enema, there are not a lot of ways to upregulate glutathione without doing like a really strict keto diet and all these other things. And just things aren't realistic necessarily for people, and we need accessible. So this is one of the biggest tools of leverage. And so yes, getting to the root, yes, supporting our bodies, but also using incredible leverage.
Yeah, and absolutely. Like what I would say is people should be out in the sunshine as much as possible right now, like really addressing your vitamin D. I'm always a huge proponent of, really watching your sugar intake. We do, if you go back into our past events in this group, you can click calendar and then hit past. You can scroll back and see I've done an extensive immunity presentation where I talk about all of that. Drop immunity in the comments below if you need the person who added you into this event, if you need help finding that immunity conversation, you want to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that. For this particular conversation, though, we did want to focus on NRF2. It is proven to reduce oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. And when you actually pair them with two of our other products, I think it reduces it by 83%, correct?
I think it's higher. I don't know the actual number, to be fair.
But those are peer-reviewed studies that we have, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We also, if I'm correct, have peer-reviewed studies that talk about how it boosts glutathione by 300%, correct?
And it shows the SOD and the hemoxygenase by like 50% and things like that. It shows an increase in all of them. And science has been trying for a very, very long time to find ways to boost intracellular glutathione, to the tune of which even it's recommended to take an endogenous antioxidant exogenously. So people are taking glutathione supplements, and that's fraught with complications. But, it's been recognized for a very long time, the importance of having glutathione be upregulated in the body.
So for those in the back that need the non-sciencey version of that, what she said was there's a difference between supplementing glutathione and activating your body's own ability to make more of its own.
Yes.
And what is most, I can't say the word protective right now, but what that article is talking about, drop article below if you would like to read the article that we're talking about. Now that one is not peer reviewed. We know that. I don't know if there's going to be any peer reviewed science at this point about what's happening in 2020, correct?
I think it's hard. I think they're working
Still
on
too
it.
soon. But preliminary research, let's say, is showing that activating your body's own ability, no. Preliminary research is showing that your body's levels of glutathione are important.
Yes. And I would also add that long before it was ever written in print on a study on PubMed, that it was important. And in the functional med community, we were talking about even nebulizing glutathione and all the stuff to help people through these illnesses in 2020. So it's long been understood to be very important, and not everything does make it onto PubMed. And here's something, like, if I'm going to drop out of a plane, if I'm going to fly out of a plane, I'm going to wear a parachute. There's no study of anybody, seeing if a parachute works or doesn't work. I'm wearing a parachute. So, not everything's going to make it online. You have to use your noggin a little.
Right. You have to think for yourself.
Yes.
Um,
Critical thinking. Imagine that.
so, okay, so let's just talk about, I take this, all three of my kids take it. My youngest was 4 when he started it. And I have both my parents on it. I know a lot of people have their dogs on it, but that's not really what we're talking about today. It, I feel very strongly that like people should be really activating their entire family right now, because 2020 is not going to get any better anytime soon.
Agreed. It's yeah. And I think that the emotional stress of there is evidence that emotional stress does create oxidative stress.
Yeah. Okay. So again, we have tons of peer-reviewed studies. If you're curious on that, you can go to www.pubmed.gov. Google Scholar is also, I would say, like a reasonable place to do research. We have tons. If you go back through the into the Wellness Evolution main page, not where this event is being held, but the group itself, and click on the units tab, we have a lot of information there too. So is it worthwhile to kind of talk about
Yes.
NRF1? Okay,
Yes.
this is all you.
Okay, so and
like,
I will do my simple version. Why would we talk about mitochondria at this point? Well, the mitochondrial theory of aging basically says that, you know, because aging is ultimately like what we're trying to combat, because illness is ultimately like an aging process in our body. And we've all heard that mitochondria are the powerhouse of our cell. It's like the engine in the cells of your body. And as we age, we have less of them, or they're less functional. Mitochondrial disease is different. A small percentage of people have mitochondrial disease. I'm talking about mitochondrial dysfunction, which at least like 30% of the population is shown to have. And this is extremely relevant, especially in the population that I work with, preconception and prenatal and young children, that acute stress really affects our ability to go through all of our biochemistry. And when that happens, it's because we don't have enough energy to do these processes, like even to detoxify. You need mitochondria. And so our body is basically like not running at the highest level if our mitochondria is depleted. So why would this be important for your family? Many of the children I see in my practice have tone issues. You know, they're slouchy. They can't keep their bodies upright and erect. They're fatigued. They have head lag when I'm, you know, pulling their arms and testing their body or whatever. That is all mitochondrial dysfunction. Even poor motor movement, poor speech, poor healing is all mitochondria. We need energy to have things happen, like for us to grow, for us to move, for us to sleep properly. And there is an enormous amount, I'd say almost like 30% of the population has mitochondrial dysfunction. And so some of the research out there is showing that, you know, using some CoQ10 and using L-carnitine, both of which are in our mitochondrial product, can be helpful. But again, we have another synergistic blend that turns on the pathway to make more mitochondria and regenerate the old ones. And so it helps the body to kind of do the heave ho.
Did she say it helps the body do the heave ho?
Yep.
Oh God, I love you.
Got to keep it funny.
The other thing that I thought was really interesting. So 2 of my children were taking NRF1, which is the one that helps with mitochondria, prior to 2020. When we went into quarantine, and I think it was you that I heard talking about how technology, like extreme technology use. Hey, anyone else doing extreme technology use? Drop tech in the comments below if you are. My kids were on way more Wi-Fi, computer, tablets, like you name it. They were sitting all day sometimes. And you had said that that really interferes with mitochondria, correct?
Yes, and a whole host of other things. But
Yeah. And so I put them all on Nerf one and doubled the dose for my one daughter who was already on it. And it was interesting. I can tell a difference.
it's fascinating to me.
Yeah. So, okay. So all adults, that's tricky. I would say, I feel like all humans, all mammals, maybe like 3 and up ish, benefit from some dose of Nerf 2. Nerf 1, I don't think is cut and dry. Is that correct?
It's not as cut and dry, just because I feel that people need to be reducing oxidative stress and doing other things before you start amping up the mitochondria.
Yep.
It is absolutely a game changer, but it shouldn't be the first thing that people use.
But fair to say, I think there's a lot of people out there that have been activated with Nerf 2 for quite a while. So this would be the next step.
Oh, absolutely, hands down. And it's it's a process. Some people need to dose it one at a time, and work with the person who shared the information with you in the first place. But it was a game changer for my firstborn. I noticed he was having trouble gaining weight, and it was dramatic for us.
Same for my older daughter too. She really struggled with
Appetite, maybe.
No, I was going to say, am I allowed to say what she struggled with?
Feelings of
feelings of nervousness.
And worry and
through the lines. Message me if you can't read through the lines. To the point where she was diagnosed by NIH with
a disorder of no name.
Correct. 3 of them about severe nervousness with separation and social nervousness and generalized nervousness.
And did it reduce when she turned on her mitochondria?
You've never heard that story? How she walked out of the woods in West Virginia and Pat, my husband, called me and he was like, I don't know who that child is, but and what you did to her, but she's not ours. You've never heard that story?
No.
Oh yeah. All right, really quick, you guys, sorry. But yeah, so we've done all the things and she had massive separation nervousness and would not go on an overnight, like didn't even want to carpool with her friends to like cheer, wouldn't do a sleepover, and putting her in the car to go visit her grandparents who live in West Virginia. Literally, Pat would have to physically restrain her from like flinging herself out of the car to come back to be with me. And I mean, it's not funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but like sometimes all you can do is laugh. And we tried all the things, and sometimes it's just easier to give in and like not make her do things. And after she'd been on this for probably about a month, the Nerf 1, she said she wanted to go kayaking with him in West Virginia. That alone was a big deal. Okay. But then they got into a kayaking accident. The kayak goes flying down the river over a waterfall. My girls are hanging from a tree branch. They lose their shoes. They have to walk out of the woods like a mile without shoes. Okay. They step on a snake. Like it's a whole thing.
What?
You never heard the story?
No.
And Pat called me. He was like, I don't know who that child was. He was like, but she was singing and joking and laughing the whole time. Total, like to the point that she has no nervousness at all now, that sometimes I wish she would have a little bit. Like she's like, oh, sure, I'll fling myself off that cliff in Michigan. Or, oh, I don't care if there's a shark in the water. Like, I'm like, hello, can you have a little normal nervousness? Anyway, I love this stuff. I love this stuff. I could talk about this for a really long time, but people aren't interested. Do we want to talk about this? We're watch.
For the family right now, no, we can skip. Yep. We can skip over that. I think we can come back to it another time. But it's pretty incredible. But I don't think it's applicable to our what's important to activate for the family right now. It is important though. But
yes, for sure. If you guys, what it's really here, what I like about it, it's 84. No.
Oh, 838 looks like. Oh no, that's not the one. Yeah.
Whatever. We'll move
Yeah.
on.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, you guys, but this I'm not good at explaining this. Okay, I'll be honest with you people.
I will.
I was just talking, I know you will. I was just talking to my customer who's been on this for about 2 weeks, and she goes, how do you explain that brain drink? And I was like, I don't know. Here's how I explain it, which is what you guys have heard me to before. I was like, it's like liquid Prozac for me. It literally, I cannot function without it. And if you sent me to a desert island and told me that I could have Axio, clothes, shoes, or fire, I'm not sure that Axio wouldn't like come first, because I literally like am crying in the corner and can't shower or function without this stuff. It's amazing. I love it. And I don't know how people function in 2020 without this stuff. Go ahead. You can say your thing now.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I can top that. I mean, 2020 function.
I mean, come on, like who
All right,
doesn't need
all
a
right.
little like happy juice?
It's being seen as what's called a nootropic, which is a fancy word for like, you know,
Brain
something
drink.
that turns on brain chemicals. And some nootropics are pills, some nootropics are not. But it has a variety of ingredients that have been studied independently and shown to be very, very beneficial. Some of the things that you probably have heard about with regards to the events of 2020 are that, you know, antioxidants and things that can dry you up from congestion, etc. And histamines, lower histamines, is quercetin. Quercetin is very, very powerful in doing that. So it's something that can sometimes just lift someone up, even just be beneficial to them for that. DMAE, which is in our caffeinated version, is has a fancy name, but it used to long time ago be used instead of like Ritalin or Adderall to help increase focus for people and for kids. And so in some countries, it's actually not available in the caffeinated form because of that. And I'm glad that it is. And here's how that works. DMAE, when it's ingested, it seems to increase the availability in your brain of something called acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter. And what that does is allows your brain to calm down. And so our entire brains right now are like flipped. They are like way in overdrive. And so if something increases the availability of our natural brain calming, that's good. L-theanine also does a brain soothing effect, can be really great by itself. Pine bark, wonderful for like acuity and focus. And then the caffeine from green tea, you know, is antioxidant rich, magnesium, and then methylated B vitamins help you with energy, mood, and so forth. So the combined altogether, yes, I have to restrain myself from not having more than 2 in a day.
All I can think about the whole time you were talking is like hashtag get you some.
Get you some.
So, okay. So here, okay. Oh, drop,
maybe, yeah, I was going to say, if somebody needs to try one and they don't have access to it, I'm happy to send someone one.
Yep. So here's a recommendation, you guys, because I know people are going to ask this. Okay. So if you're brand new to this conversation, what I would say is Nerf 2 is your first stop. Okay. Get you and your family on Nerf 2. Reach out to the person who added you to this group, have them connect you with me, with Kat, whatever you need, so we can talk about dosing. We have a 3-pack of Nerf 2 that I think it gives you a $16 savings. I highly recommended it when we first went into 2020, like in March, when I found out what was happening. I hoarded this stuff. I think I bought 15 bottles. We have plenty. There is no need to hoard it. Okay. But I do recommend you take it every single day for the foreseeable future, if not for the rest of your life, quite frankly. Okay. So that's step 1 is Nerf 2. If you have the budget, okay, then the next thing you're looking at is, I would say, Nerf 2 and Axio. I don't think all the kids necessarily need Axio. I think that's a case by case basis.
Absolutely.
Just like I don't think all the kids necessarily need Nerf 1, 2. I think for the kids, it's the Nerf 2. For the adults, the ideal is Nerf 2, Nerf 1, and Axio. That would be my recommendation. Again, reach out to me or Kat. We're happy to work with you if you have budget issues. I have told people, I know a lot of people have lost their jobs, and like we have to be sensitive to that. I'd rather see you taking a quarter of a Nerf 2 and spreading one bottle out over 4 months than not taking it at all. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, definitely. I like your 2 cents.
Anyway, so thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for hanging with us as we #wing it. And if you have any questions, reach out to me or Kat or the person that added you here. Please don't go buy this from Amazon. Can you explain why?
Well, it might be counterfeit, and also like support your friends.
Yeah, I would say support your small businesses right now.
Yeah.
So, okay, thanks you guys.
Bye.
Bye.